Weird science
is the revolution.
Thunderbolts number 2. And if you listen to our review of the first issue of Thunderbolts, we thought it was kind of bullcrap.
Yeah.
We didn't really love it. We said at the end, and I'll really reiterate it as well, because by the end you had what was a Thunderbolts team led by Bucky Barnes. You end up having Sharon Carter as the Destroyer. You end up having Red Guardian, and they are infiltrating Red Skull's Nazi/Hydra castle. And it was boring. How is that boring? Even when they talk, oh my God, even when they talk about this, it's like they spell out that they were infiltrating Red Skull's broadcast studio. And I'm like, all right, like kind of, but I would more center on it was a castle than something as I mean, I have a broadcast studio here and I'm lame, right? So
it's more like a dungeon where you broadcast from.
Yeah, really. Well, wasn't it there with his Nazi nonsense? So you end up where all this going on. And at the end of that issue, with a team that barely made sense. And as you have said before, and I've seen other people complain even about the movie itself, this is just Suicide Squad. It doesn't feel like Thunderbolts. It doesn't feel like a team that's actually coordinated with, because you don't really know. It's just kind of thrown at you, but it's just nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah,
so
basically.
When I got into this issue and I start like, okay, let's see what's happening here. Let's see what's going on. I ended up like, okay, I thought there were other people on this team. And then I go back because a lot of times I don't read the recap. And I read the recap. I'm like, oh, crap, it was like, where are they? What are they doing? How did these new characters get involved? I don't even know what's happening here. Nobody seems to like the other people. And it's just nonsense. But Thunderbolts number 2 is written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly with art by Geraldo Borges, colors by Arthur Hesley. I've not really heard that name much.
I haven't either.
Letters by VC's Joe Sabino. Here is the recap, just so I can laugh at it. Bucky Barnes, a.k.a. The Revolution, has teamed up with the Contessa Allegra de Fontaine for a new mission, Justice Like Lightning.
That's the original Thunderbolts tagline.
But they throw that in there as if they are like really telling this hard. Like they don't even deserve.
It's nothing
to
like
put
the original.
That's
don't.
what I'm saying. They don't deserve to put that.
No, it shouldn't even be called the Thunderbolts.
No,
Bucky's team.
I'll tell you what I call it. But we don't curse on this thing.
No,
I said bullcrap earlier. Just add a little. And if I do curse, what we could do is redact it out. Like, and that's I hate
oh my
wingdings.
God. I'm like, is that a word or is that a curse word? What am I looking at here?
You don't need to do that. We understand. Please. Their target, the Red Skull, his network, his legacy, and his life, once and for all. With the help of Sharon Carter, a.k.a. the Destroyer, not in this issue, and the Red Guardian, nowhere to be found, they took out the Red Skull's broadcast studio. I'd call it a castle. Killed his current form. Right there. Even that showed I'm getting so angry.
Killed his current form.
Yeah, he killed him. So, and what I'm going to say, though, is we saw at the end of last issue that something's going on with the Red Skull that he can keep continuing to kind of be alive. Different versions, different things. But yet Bucky is surprised at the end of this by it, and it's even in the recap. So why killed his current form and mapped out his remaining network. Now comes phase 2, wipe out the Red Skull's wealth, currently guarded by Kingpin. Oh, right. So when you read it, whether it works or not, it just feels like Lansing and Kelly writing this are 2 steps behind any of the current continuity, or they actually think that things that people hate are more popular and grab them. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like you get the worst of every world in this book, including, unfortunately for them, their nonsense they did with Captain America. So you start out in New York City, the Hellfire Club, scum, villainy. Stop with your not.
And designer tapas.
You have this going on, and there's going to be a lot of yakety yak. You're going to have a lot of people talking, and every single bit of dialogue sounds the same. You cannot tell who is saying it at points. You don't care. It is boring. This is overly talky nonsense, and you don't really get anything from it because what you're having here is Bucky with White Widow and Black Widow. They're going to infiltrate this whole play at the Hellfire Club because Red Skull's money is now going to be given away. Like, it almost feels like a will reading, but it's not. And then at the end, Fisk is going to keep the money himself. Well, that's no shock. And then even with that, there's a weird way of how it's grabbed. And
even the discussion of the money was annoying. The guy goes, how much money are we talking about? $15 billion, and he says it the exact amount. It's like, it's
the
not
exact
funny.
amount. Like, that's not funny. So you're there and you play this thing of, okay, everybody in the room, Bucky is killed at one point, kind of playing a wink wink of the Red Skull thing, even like he should be somebody who doesn't, bat an eye at somebody coming back or continuing. It's Bucky. He's done it. But he goes in. They're not undercover. I mean, seriously.
They're out in the open.
Black Widow
She's wearing
wants
her
to make
emblem
sure
on her chest.
that she's so known that she wears a black ball dress with her symbol on it. And then you have Yelena is pissed off because everybody's looking at Bucky and not her. She comes off as just a dunce.
I thought she was Emma Frost the whole time.
You even get Yelena at one point at the end, like, the Contessa, she's running the whole thing. She's like the Amanda Waller, if we're going to go the whole Suicide Squad feel, and it does feel more like that. At one point, she's like, oh, like after the fact, I thought you were going to wear your beat-em-up costume, not that, the dress makes me feel cute, and I'm pretty good when I'm cute. I'm like, get out of town. I'm telling you, everything is boring. Everything is explained in a way that makes it even more boring than it actually is. And you have just weird plays here where they're getting through the ear from the Contessa. We got to get the money. We got to get the money. We got to get the money. Fisk comes out and says, hey, that Red Skull, pretty bad guy. I don't think that we're going to toast a fascist Nazi. So the heck with that. And by the way, I'm going to get the money. Like this whole thing, even to the point where they say, and I'm saying Bucky and them are like, thus protest too much. I'm like, what do you mean?
I don't know.
He's going to grab the money, but he's just going on and on about how this Red Skull's the worst, whatever. And then we find out, obviously Fisk is involved with this, but he just says, hey, everybody, we have the money going. We're going to end up putting it in this vault, and you better not steal it. And if you do, I'm going to be pissed, and sign our sucker, and then gets on the elevator. And then you get the team like, oh, this is our cue. Let's go in. So here we go. Again, no Sharon Carter Red Guardian that were from this last issue. So now we have to get Yelena and Black Widow, and they're going to go and they're going to have this contest of who could get to this vault level first, but not really set up. And then when it does happen, it's just eye rolling because it's annoying because you realize that there's not anything going on in the story at all. Like Ocean's 11, this is Ocean's a quarter. I'm getting on the elevator. Oh, you want the codes? Because I just used my symbiotic reach to get the code. Because in this, you have what currently is going on. Black Widow as a symbiote. And luckily, we get black word bubbles with red. Just like I hated when we had the Batman who laughs. I can't read it. I hated it. It's just like every little thing annoys me in this.
So is the symbiote named Widow? Is that what it's like?
Yeah, that's what it seems. And I don't really know. I haven't been reading anything with it. So you end up where a lot of the stuff's just solved because Black Widow has a symbiote. She ends up getting the codes to the elevator to give to Yelena. They end up meeting up at the top, and we're just going to have kind of a fight. It's not that big a fight. Fisk seems like the slowest walk because he says, I'm going to get on the elevator. We have so much going on.
He's using a cane. He's got to be slow. Come on,
How many times, though, were we also seeing Bucky, like, grabbing that glass? Like, we see that, like, 3 times. I think there are points in this that I legitimately think somebody has stopped time.
Yeah.
Here's my review. This book sucks, but you end up where they go and they're going to get this Nazi gold. Oh, we're going to get it. We got to keep it from this. The Contessa, she wants us to get this. We really don't know why everybody's involved because even Yelena and Black Widow like talk crap on the. So they get there and there's that slight mention of nothing can go into what is, and I didn't even say vast. The living
is that
vault
a new character or an existing one? I don't even know.
No, I don't know either. But he's there, and all the gold is being transferred into him. So you end up having Black Widow
vacuums it into his body or something.
Yeah, he's got a negative space in there.
Yeah.
It's like a different dimension. So he's going to get it in there. While he's doing that, you end up having Black Widow just throw what looks like sticks of dynamite. She's going old school, and it's just going to blow up all the gold. That's it. That's pretty much the deal. And in the meantime, the Contessa's pissed because she wanted the gold, but then they don't. But I'm like, what does anybody care? I don't know why this team even is anything. At one point, Bucky ends up saying, hey, our extraction plan's done. You just need to rip open the building and get us with the Quinjet. We're out of here. And that's what they do. And at the end, she's like, I wanted that Nazi gold. You jerks. But at the very end, when Fisk was getting beat up, he actually says to Bucky, "You think you killed the Red Skull? Ha ha ha! He lives on. We knew this." And then he's like waking up at night. I don't know what to do. That Red Skull, he's still out and about. And then they find out, oh, by the way, we think that the Red Skull's working somewhere in Europe. Oh, really? Where's that? You're not going to like it. It's in Latveria. All right, go screw yourself. This book stinks.
Yeah, and
things just happen.
Black Widow gets sucked in a non-sexy way into Vast, right?
Yeah.
And it's like tons of gold and shit stuff in there.
Yeah. There's tons of gold.
I think this character could be really cool. It's just I think these guys invented it, and it just sucks. I just did a quick look up, and I haven't seen it before, and it makes me even more angry.
And even that, like, she's in there, and you already said, like, you can't get in and then get out, but you have this mechanical hand come and grab her
right?
out. Like, why not leave her in there to die?
Yeah.
Like, really, the idea of her being in there in a vault with all the gold, you then go to where this go, because that's Fisk's thing, that they're getting this gold and transferring. Where you're going to transfer it then, you get Vast, you set them up and say, okay, let's get 500 guys with bazookas ready, and then when he pulls her out there, you kill her. Why grab her out now? You know why? Because she's going to throw sticks of dynamite down so that it blows up, and she can't be in there. Obviously, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the kicker of the issue. Oh, my God, she was so smart to jump in, give the deal. And the play was, if you jump in, you never come out. And so you think it's stakes, but it's not, because he just reaches his go-go gadget arm in.
Thank you for explaining that, because I never.
Yeah, and then I just want to, maybe point out, I don't know exactly what she throws in, but I kind of think that gold would still be there. Some of it. I mean,
and
I know
that looks like way more than $15 billion worth of gold. I don't know.
Oh, damn you Thunderbolts! You took my gold. A play where Lansing and Kelly want to push this narrative of this is the biggest thing ever. I mean, they're taking down the Skulls Network and all that. The story is just so simple. A, B, C, boom, done. Everything happens just easily, and then they're done. And then we move off. And I'm assuming we're going to have 2 other characters involved, because they can't write these characters well anyway, but at least set up a narrative that through this series you actually start liking some of these. They are classic characters, but still, you're not going to say to me right now, oh man, you know who Lansing and Kelly write great? The Red Guardian. We barely got, and then we move on to another thing. It's just, it's nonsense.
Next issue, they're going to Hong Kong to fight the American kaiju Todd Ziller. So,
which is weird, because you almost played the idea they're heading to Latveria, but I guess this is like, we know he's in Latveria, but we can't get there. And I bet you in Hong Kong, they're going to try to get something to
it's also annoying, too, because this page basically was in that last Timeless issue. And they wrote that, so they were promoting this.
Yeah, they're not good. I know people might disagree with me, but I don't know why. Because they're boring. Everything they write is boring, and it ends up being more convoluted than it has to. We said it about last issue of this. You end up having such a convoluted issue when you just have fun. There's a Red Skull Castle, you're going to go in, and they try to make it fancier. They try to make it like this whole thing, thinking of it as a caper type deal. You're just lost in this nonsense and woe of words and dialogue that you never really get to settle down. And in the end, you don't even really know exactly what they did or how they did it. You just end up like, all right, the gold's gone. Oh, well, and not even really knowing what that means, except for, oh, it sucks with that network. But I don't really feel like I'm involved in any of the story. But what would you give it?
I'm trying to remember what I gave it last time. I'm leaning more towards a 3. That's what I'm feeling.
I'm a 2.5.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. You can tell when we're talking about it.
You read a guy like Hickman and how well he does at world building and
then
changing
you get this and realize
and stuff.
That difference.
You just can't do it. They can't do it. No.
You just have people talking like it's not even like exposition play. It's like they think that this is character work dialogue, but it's not. I mean, you just have people just yakking to the point where you're like, okay, and I have to give it a low score because there's a part where, you're reviewing a book and you don't like it and you're like, oh, it's a shame, or man, I wish it was better, or something like that. It takes that special writers to get me angry when I read it, as if like they've done me an insult that I had to read this bullcrap and waste my time with it. So yeah, I think we're done with this. right?
I have the same kind of feelings, but I really, really like the Thunderbolts and the series that have come before this, especially the original one. And this just is a lack of better words, a bastard version of it.
Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science
is the revolution.